My mic was muted. Hello, everyone. Yeah, my mic was muted. Sorry. Thank you for letting me know, though. How is everyone this morning? Oh, there we are. Hello, hello.
Thanks for the invite.
Absolutely, absolutely. We'll get started here in just a few minutes. Let some more people join up here. How you doing today? Remember, you have to swipe from the top to the bottom, and then you have to select screen mirror, Mom.
Your background's pretty cool, dude.
Oh, thank you. That was my sister made this. The Berry Witch is what we call her.
Nice.
Yeah, she makes all of our graphics 100% through and through. Thanks for sharing, everyone. Hey, Allie, there she is, actually right there. Yes, so Alyssa Rapp, she's in chat. She does things with us as well. She's part of Postmortem Paranormal, and she created it. Hello, SGG Paranormal. Turn the music off here. How's everyone doing tonight? Excited? Yes, I'm extremely excited. Yes.
I gotta connect my earbuds real quick. Give me a second.
Sure, take your time. Al, you did a great job on it. Honestly, it looks amazing. Looks absolutely amazing. Shout out. Guys can't really see it. Shout out Sinister Brew. Nice, cool little mug. Drinking some tea. You have to swipe from the top down, and then here I can show you the little button you're looking for. Little button right. Oh gosh, can't really see it. I give up. Hello, FIB Brian. Thank you very much for the follow. How is everyone doing today? Oh, the Gnome Project. Thank you so much for all of the gifts. I'm so sorry I didn't even see them. Hello, Razor Sharp. Hello. Doing good. This is our first Unidentified Flying podcast. Something that I've been thinking of wanting to do for a while now, and I asked Allie and Paranormal Joy there if I could do it, and they said of course. So Saturdays, every Saturday, I'm going to be hosting this podcast, and we're going to talk about all things alien, UFO, UAP, a little bit of conspiracy. Hey, Hoosier. A little bit of conspiracy stuff, and yeah, the other side of paranormal, right? The other side of paranormal.
I'm sorry, I'm trying to get my earbuds connected to my phone. It's a new set because I
No
lost my other
problem.
one. So
Oh, do you do wireless ones?
yeah. Sorry, I'm trying to get my earbuds connected.
Sorry.
So I just purchased these wonderful JBL wireless earbuds, and they were on sale. They're normally $50, but I got them for $25, and $25 well spent. Amazon for the win. Okay, after the live, remind me, and I can send you the link with all the juicy deets. JBL is a good brand. JBL is good. I think we all love Amazon. Well, I didn't like working for Amazon when I worked for AWS. It was not fun, but it's another story.
All right, I'm here. We're good to go.
Awesome. So, since this is the first podcast, I don't have specific topics set. I figured we could kind of just have an open discussion. Hey, Lorraine, thank you so much for popping in. Unfortunately, Lorraine, I know you couldn't make it tonight, but that's okay. Next weekend. But yes, we'll just have a little bit of an open discussion here. Maybe some people in the chat, if you would like to. Thank you so much for the gifts. The chat, if you guys would like to, if you want to talk about something or hear us talk about something, we can absolutely discuss it. Okay, so aliens. Aliens, man. Yeah. So we can kind of do the drone thing first, and then on to aliens.
I'm good with that. That's a good topic to start with.
Absolutely. So, just if anyone has been living under the shade of a tree or a rock for the last few months, there has been hundreds, thousands of drone sightings, really across the country. It's not just New Jersey, but it seems to be concentrated in New Jersey, particularly northern Jersey. Massive drones, some of them the size of SUVs, which are quite large for drones, honestly.
Wow.
I could say quite large for what we could, say are commercial or enthusiast drones. The biggest drone that I know most consumers would buy are the ones from Amazon, the cargo drones, but those are nowhere near the size of, a truck. So Tom from Blink 182 was right about aliens exist. Absolutely. But yeah, so that's kind of what we're going to talk about. Really what we're going to talk about is the after effects of it. Before my time, I've heard of Blink 182. Come on. Not that young. Couldn't name a song, but yeah, so Tim, what did you hear about the White House press release? Their explanation of drones?
I caught a very small portion of it. I try not to get too much into politics.
Mm-hmm.
I'm following a little bit on what he's doing, but I haven't stopped to listen to what he had to say about any of that stuff yet. So
Gotcha. Okay, so it was just a White House media release. Essentially, it wasn't anything crazy. You can find the article if anyone's interested on NewJersey.com. Actually, that's where we read the article. Pretty much just said that the drones were sanctioned by the FAA for research and development, and that the predominant most of the drones that were reported were the drones that they were testing. A lot of them were enthusiast and commercial drones that hobbyists would fly, and were mistaken for the same drones.
So they're saying all these drones are just people flying them around for no reason.
Well, most of them were actually being tested by the FAA. So the FAA
Okay.
supposedly. Oh, absolutely! Come on in, Lorraine. There
Oh yeah.
Okay, okay. So, with what you're talking about with the FAA, if it was the case, then the FAA would have known when it actually was happening, and they didn't. They had no clue about it.
I do agree with that. If this was what it was all along, why couldn't they just say that from the beginning? That's a very
Right.
basic way of putting it, and definitely would have stopped the media frenzy that happened.
So, what aren't they telling us? Because they know more than what they're saying. And it usually is the way that is all the time.
Yes, the Cryptid Keeper does work for the FAA, actually. So he works on the.
But I'm sure he's not able to tell us.
He doesn't work for that part of the FAA.
Oh.
Yeah, he works for the tech center out of Atlantic City. So they work on the flight systems, flight navigation systems, I believe.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
But even though he works on the tech part of it and everything, no, keep it down. He sees things, and I'm sure he hears things, and he's unable to talk about any of that.
Oh yeah, I'm sure. Absolutely, absolutely.
I see that, cryptid keeper.
So yeah, so obviously, I feel like this was being told to us just to kind of pacify us in the meantime, honestly. But I mean, it does kind of fall in line a little bit with someone that did come forth earlier on into the into the reporting of these drones, I guess. And I just want to stop and say, Unknown Project, thank you so much for the gifts. They're not popping up really. I have a very small screen set aside for the chat and everything, so I'm sorry if I'm missing them. But thank you. I saw that you donated more. Thank you so much. But yes, so with the drones, someone stated that the Picatinny Arsenal, which is where the drones were initially reported, the drones were tests. The Picatinny Arsenal had awarded, I think, $20 or $30 million.
Sorry, baby.
$20 or $30 million.
Don't do that.
A commercial drone operator.
Yeah, actually.
To develop drones for the military. And that these were the test of those drones that they had been working on for 7 years or so now, I guess. 6 years. Probably based off of what they're saying, I think it's pretty safe to say that's probably what it was. But what the key here is
why are they flying them around people and then refusing to talk about it?
Yes. So I think it was a double-edged sword. They are definitely covering something up. Should be trackable by all FAA controllers. So the drones were being flown by people at the FAA. They had hired and trained a bunch of drone operators to come and come and test these new drones. And what I find interesting is someone else came forward and said these drones are being used to monitor a phenomenon that's been happening in New Jersey for roughly a long time, but really the last year. Started early 2020 or late 2023. According to this person, I mean, of course, we have to take it with a grain of salt, right? But they are in the intelligence and military community here, stationed here in New Jersey. And they stated that there were these UFOs, these objects that they did not know where they were coming from, and they would deploy. They would see these on radar and scramble jets to intercept them. And when the pilots were getting close to these objects were, pretty much the same as what we always hear happening, right? What they just disclosed that happened over on the West Coast. Pretty much the objects are just able to outmaneuver them and just blow them out of the water. And that's funny because we live on the Jersey coast, and we see and hear the jets all the time, because where they are scrambled from would either be south of us or north of us, probably depending on where the object is coming from or where they're tracking the object. So we can hear them come up and down the coast all the time. Multiple times they have gone a little too fast, hit supersonic, and have busted out car windows and caused $1 million of damage. That's happened a few times over the past 8 years. So they just say they're tests, but they're
Sure.
test flights. But to be honest, but what do you think? What do you think, Tim? What do you think's going on with that? What do you think they're hiding? You have any ideas?
I honestly don't know. No, I was in the military, so I didn't really mess with stuff like that. I was stationed up in North Dakota. I was on the missile base up in Minot, North Dakota, so I guarded nuclear missiles and all that. Not cool stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, they exposed me to radiation every day that I went to work. So,
Yeah.
thank you. I think it's just a hype to get people to talk about it and get the media going, and then the government just kind of lets it go and lets it happen, and it causes so much uproar between the people. Like, I think there was more going on in the world, and that was just a distraction for them to say, hey, let's get people to stop talking about this by doing this.
I 100% agree with you on that. Unfortunately, it's kind of sad if you think about it, but I do agree with you.
It happens all the time. It does. Anytime something major happens, all of a sudden something else happens.
Mm-hmm.
That like the whole Epstein thing.
Oh gosh, yes.
Okay, there's still people questioning. You hear about it, but there's so much more, like P. Diddy Combs and all this other stuff that nobody is now talking about the Epstein case, because how many presidents and how many important people are on that list? They don't want people talking about it.
Oh goodness, yes, absolutely. That's why that is why no one, whenever anyone's asked about declassifying the Epstein files, they always beat around the bush. Every single time, no matter who it is. They say, oh well, but they're fine releasing other documents, right? To pacify the masses. To be honest, it's just It's about pacification or distraction. Yeah. They do always find ways to distract us with something else. Absolutely. So let me
Yeah,
let me
that's what they're best at.
so FIB. Um let me ask you this. So outside of your duties with the military, have you had any um experiences with seeing UFOs or anything of that nature?
UFOs, no.
Mm-hmm.
I've never, I've never seen any UFOs. Um, I know like the drones and stuff. They're flying all over the United States, and I didn't get a chance to see any of them. Um, but do I believe in them? Absolutely, I believe in them. I believe in Bigfoot. I believe in
Yeah.
UFOs. I believe in aliens. I mean, this world is not this world, but this whole entire universe is too small for us not to believe in them.
I 100% agree. I think it is, mathematically, um, it is mathematically probably impossible for there not to be some other intelligent life form out there. I'm gonna go ahead and accept Dynasty here. There you are. You're accepted,
Yo,
Dynasty. Hey,
What's up, buddy?
Dynasty.
what's up, man? How y'all doing tonight?
Doing wonderful. Thanks so much for joining us here.
Great.
Hey, thanks for letting me hop in.
Oh, absolutely. So let's get your take. What is your take on drones? I know you're not too far from us here in this southern part of New Jersey. So what's your take?
Oh man. Well, I don't know, man. I definitely think that it's the government testing out things. Obviously, they want to play stupid because they don't really want us to know. That's what the report came out with the last week. Trump had his press secretary release that it was the government testing out drone stuff, which wouldn't surprise me.
Same.
But you know, I didn't see any. I'm actually out because I'm currently active duty. I'm in Indiana.
Oh, okay, okay.
Yeah, I'm from
That's where
Delaware.
I
Like
was.
my family's still out there and everything. But yeah, I'm so
You said you're active duty currently?
yeah, I'm in 20 years Navy.
Oh, awesome. My dad served 20 years in the Navy.
Nice. I got 3 years left and then I retire.
Okay. Well, thank
Nice.
you for your service.
Yes,
Well,
thank
you
you very
too,
much
brother.
for
I
your
heard you.
service.
I put together that you were previously Air Force.
And
With
why
where
not?
you're
Why not?
stationed at.
Yeah. Yep.
So, but
Yeah,
yeah, man, it's always the thing is it's always something. We're never ever gonna know.
yeah.
There's things where the average person shouldn't know. I don't think the average person could handle a lot of it. Um, but we're never really going to know really the truth about a lot of stuff.
You're 100% right. It's unfortunate, but you are. I do really agree with you there. I don't think the average person could handle it, and I think that's because of preconceived beliefs that they kind of grew up with, and that's okay. Everyone has those, right?
Hmm.
Um, but um, I think that a lot of people would not be able to handle that. I think it would possibly challenge too much of what they believe to be what they believe the world is or what the universe is. Um, do any of you guys think we'll ever ever truly know? I think we're getting there, but I think it's like they're dangling carrots in front of us, saying, "Come on, come on, guys, come on, come on." And I think it's just going to be dragged out until, for years and just more smoke blown up, our behinds. But
Yeah, I don't think we'll know in our lifetime.
No, there's no way.
at least not from the government.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do think that Elon's going to get us to Mars, hopefully before my lifetime is over. But um,
I
yeah,
thought he abandoned that idea.
No, that's his
No, it's
that's his life goal.
I knew it was, but I thought he kind of switched his tune a little bit because of the um logistics of actually having people on Mars that were not quite there yet. So I thought he was like switching up his direction for the meantime.
Yeah, no, I would have to look. I'm not sure.
I know that they just sent one of his rockets to the moon. I don't know what it was carrying, what payload it had. I don't know. I think it's a test, probably a test because I know that NASA's or someone is trying to send a manned mission to the moon. I know within the next few years or something like that. The last I
Yeah.
heard, it had been pushed back and pushed back. So I'm wondering if this rocket they just sent to the moon is sort of like a test to uh to see. Now, I guess here's actually a good segue into that. What do you guys think about the moon landings? Why do you think we've not been back? Did we ever go?
Well, so they, from what they say, is that one, it's too expensive, and they're trying to do other things. I don't know. Do I believe? I mean, there's a lot of controversy. We all know that. You got people calling each other names because people don't believe it. It's really bad. So, um, do I believe they landed on the moon? I don't think so. I don't think that they knew exactly what type of attire they needed to wear. I don't think they knew exactly what type of material they needed to safeguard themselves against the atmosphere they're in. I don't think they really knew what they were getting themselves into.
Okay. I I mean, looking at the technology that they had back in the 60s, they really wouldn't have. I mean, of course, I mean, with the science that they had then, definitely different than what we know now, right? Um, but
Well,
you got to
back in the
think of,
1960s, you still didn't have medical breakthroughs yet. So how would they have a breakthrough in going to the moon?
I think they just kind of assumed, based off of, because we could send people into space, and we knew, and they were able to study the effects that that would have. And I think that they assumed, they saw how our bodies worked on Earth. I think at that point they were probably able to relatively accurately um, know what the moon's gravity would be like, right? So they probably just went, if they did go, with assumptions based off of what we did know, and just hoped for the best. Obviously, and
And got it
obviously
right
there
the
was,
first time.
yeah.
Yeah.
Let's be honest, that'd be pretty crazy, right? If that's
Mm-hmm.
actually right, that'd be great American ingenuity for sure. But um, Dynasty, what do you think about the moon? Turn up my volume. Yeah,
Okay.
I can do that.
Yeah. So, yes, I think we landed on the moon, and I think when it comes to the moon landing in that time frame was
Mm-hmm.
the reason it happened because it was kind of like a how do I say it without being vulgar? A dick measuring contest against the Russians who can get there. So it was in our we wanted to beat another country because we wanted to flex our muscles.
Yeah.
So if something else came up, like say now, if China like threatened or wanted to put like a space station that could do harm to our nation, what do you think we'd be? Where would we be at tomorrow? On the moon magically again? Like
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I think when it comes to that type of stuff, we always got to flex to be there first, to
Mm-hmm.
be better than others. And that was the whole, it was the big old space race to say that, to show that we were better than the Russians then. I don't know. I mean, I don't like people, everyone can think how they want to think. Like, I don't know, man. That's like, I mean, that's like saying, and maybe you guys feel this way, that 9/11 was fake. Like, I don't want to, I'm not going to sit there and live my life thinking that I served my country for reasons that it was all fake. Like, I can't live my life like that.
Right. No, I 100% agree with that comment. Um, you know, I like I said, I don't know. I can't tell you if we did or not. I'm not gonna say yes 100% that we did. I'm not a flat earther. I'm not that person, so I don't sit here and just think about stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, but it's one of those things where it's like you make assumptions, and then your first attempt is the correct assumption. I
Yeah.
mean, that would be like Albert Einstein, making whatever and getting it right the first time. So,
Yeah.
um, yeah, and the space race was a thing. It was documented. Everything was documented. It was all videotaped. Um,
I guess my
but
biggest
did
thing
it
now
truly
with
happen?
sorry, go ahead, my bad. I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, I'm done.
No, I think so. Like the reason I want to say too that I believe it is because in the world we live in today, with how things get leaked, how many people would have been tied down to think something like that big eventually not have one person who was involved in it leak it that it actually wasn't real.
I 100% agree with that. And I mean, so what I think, well, this is about if we went to the moon or not. It's conspiracy, mom. It's like conspiracy stuff.
Saying you guys' opinions are dead wrong. It's just how I feel. Like
Yeah.
I'm
So,
not sitting there saying you guys are like wrong for the way you feel. Like I don't want you. Don't take it that way.
oh, I don't know. I don't take it that way at all.
I don't feel that way. You're
Yeah.
good.
No, you're good. So, I I I agree with you. With I think at some point someone would have leaked it, right? Now, I think what people kind of held on to a lot um, over the years is the fact that NASA is known for doing some shady stuff here and there. They have a whole department dedicated to what they call touching up photos. In some instances, it's just they completely alter them to the point where they're not even what the original photo was. Um, that was leaked firsthand, and of course, they've lost the original tapes, or they lost the original moon samples plus the tapes and some of the documents. How do you lose something like that? You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
How do you lose something like that? That's just kind of bonkers to me. That such a pivotal moment in our history just magically lose something like that. It honestly it makes me think that there's something else to that. You know what I mean? Like it's like they were trying to hide something. I definitely believe that we went to the moon. I don't think that was faked personally. But what I definitely feel is there's something else to the concept or the thought behind how you could lose such pivotal pieces of, uh, such a pivotal moment in American history. That stuff would have been sent to, goodness, probably Fort Knox, honestly. Let's be honest here. Or somewhere much safer than the archives at NASA, I feel. So,
Yeah, somebody definitely got fired for that.
oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Someone definitely got fired for that. That's for sure.
Oh yeah. Just another thing is too is like countries like Russia would know if we faked it too, and like
Oh yeah.
I feel like I feel like they'd be the first to say like
Call us out on
lies
it.
never happened. I don't know, man. Could it all be everything? I mean, it could all be fake. I don't fucking know. Everything could be fake. Everything I don't know. It all could be crazy. Who knows?
dude, our government's so screwed. They would send people to space and make them disappear just to say they landed on the moon. Let's. I'm not trying to get political. I don't want to get political. This is what is it about? But they would send 5 or 6 people to space just to say, "Hey, we did this," because that's how messed up our government is.
Yeah.
But that's neither here nor there. So I'll drop that.
So I just want to say thank you guys so much for everyone that's donated. We've achieved our gift goal. Thank you guys so much. It's amazing, awesome. Thank you again. Um, Yeah. Can we oh yeah, we can. Okay, let me reset it.
I wish we would know, but there's I think the universe is too big to say we're by ourselves.
Oh,
No, I agree with that.
100%. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, I think too. Like the stars that we see in the sky, for what science says, like don't even exist anymore because it takes so long for that light to travel to us,
Yeah.
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Like stars we're looking at every night don't like most of them don't even exist anymore because how long the light took to travel. So to say that so many so far away that we're not.
You cut out Dynasty.
Hopefully he's good.
Yeah.
No, I agree with that. Like we're looking into the past. When we look up, we're always looking
Yeah.
to the past. Yeah. And by the time the light hits us from the stars, he's absolutely correct. They're gone. They're no longer there. It's like if they're looking down on Earth right now, they're looking at the dinosaurs or before that.
And
Yeah.
They're actually seeing dinosaurs on Earth.
that's an interesting concept. I've done some, I won't say research, but I've watched some documentaries, some things about um the thought of um there comes a point where you would have reached so far if you traveled in a straight line away from Earth. There comes a point that if you looked back upon Earth with a telescope, right? If one's powerful enough that you could actually see Earth, is going to be technically in the past exactly what you're saying, right? So that also makes you think, though, because we have all of these instruments that are, scanning the skies for signs of intelligent life or markers for uh, chemicals and compounds that kind of typically equate to there being carbon-based life forms on that planet, right?
Mm-hmm.
A lot of them that they're looking at are close enough where we would know, right? But looking beyond those, they are looking at some that are very far away. Who's to say that there isn't something already there on that planet, around that star, whatever they're looking at, and it's just not reached us yet, right? The same concept as what you were talking about. We're essentially looking in the past.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Everywhere we look, it's always in the past. It's never. I feel like it's never in the present.
What is your guys' thoughts on the WoW signal? Kind of following along the topic of looking for life forms out there. Do you guys know about the WoW signal?
Mm-mm.
No.
Okay, so what the WoW signal was, I think it was in 1980 something. There's a large radio telescope in Ohio, I believe. I want to say Ohio. Or no, West Virginia, one of the two. That it's a radio telescope that was scanning the sky for radio signals. And they received a signal that was not normal for that section of sky that they were scanning. And literally, the guy on the paper, the operator that reads the data, literally put next to it "wow," dubbing it the WoW signal, because it's a signal that doesn't correspond with the typical radio noise that we receive from typical interstellar space, right? Some of the theories behind it was that also, it was in a band of radio signal that is typical with communications. I think that was the other marker there. So a couple of ideas was either it was a satellite that passed through, but when they looked at the data for that, there was no satellites in the area that they could have, intercepted a signal from.
So this is about all the. I've heard about the radio signals that they've been receiving from what they believe to be, millions of years ago, and like I've heard about it. Yes, they don't know where it's coming from, right?
They didn't know exactly where the signal came from because the patch of sky that they were able to track it to, it's small, but it's still, it's like a millimeter, millimeter, but in that millimeter, that centimeter of sky is hundreds of millions of different stars. So they can't track it or pinpoint which star it came from because it never repeated itself. It only ever happened once.
So why don't they send a radio signal to that little millimeter pinpoint and see what happens?
They have. They've.
Okay. But that's going to take millions of years to get to them.
Possibly, yes. If one of those stars is far enough away, maybe the star it came from is, one of the stars that are so far away that it takes that long to get here, then absolutely. It could take, decades, hundreds, thousands of years. Yes, absolutely. So there was a program during the mid 90s to early 2000s called it was part of the SETI program, so Search for Extraterrestrial. I can't remember what the I stands for, but it was they used a radio telescope and they would point it at a star, send a radio message to that star, and look at that star for X amount of time. They did that to hundreds of different stars, and they never received. They did it to all of our closest stars. So, like Proxima A, Proxima B. Those are, I think, 4 light years away, something of that nature. So it would take 4 years for that radio signal to reach the star, and then 4 years for it to reach back. It's 4.2 light years away, yeah. And these are our closest stars that in our lifetime, if we were able to, reach a certain speed, that it is possible that we could actually, visit these star systems. I think 30 or 40 years is the estimated for a possible, if they can reach a certain velocity, a certain speed. I don't know, but and they never received anything back. And these are our closest stars that were thought to have possible life forms or something of that nature based off of planets that they found within a habitable zone of their stars. Nothing.
Okay.
Kind of sad, right? But also think about it.
Yeah.
If there's no intelligent life out there, why would they want to communicate with us? Let's be honest. We're barbarians compared to the. It's like us communicating.
Well,
with
you're reaching out. You're reaching out to all these planets and all these stars or whatever they're trying to do, but they can't reach out 13,000 feet underneath the ocean to figure out what more is down there.
Right. And with the disclosure movement that's happening, they're saying that these UFOs are coming from the ocean. So maybe now there will be someone out there rich enough and willing enough to invest in what's needed to survey more of the oceans. Hopefully. I don't know.
Hopefully.
Maybe one day.
Maybe.
Who knows?
I'm
I feel
interested
like we
to
know
see
more about space than we do know about, our
our
planet
world, yeah.
as a whole. Yeah, and they're just trying to reach out more and more, but they don't want to. And I know what it is. People are interested. People are going to donate the money. They're receiving so much money that if they stop doing what they're doing, they're going to stop getting it. And you know, I don't know. I would like to know what planet I'm living on. I'd like to know what more is there on this planet. I'd like to know
Because
about aliens as well, but I want to know what is more to
No
this
worries,
planet.
Dynasty. Take your time.
yeah, my kids are might call me to say goodnight. I'll be back.
Okay, no problem,
Are you good?
Dynasty.
All right, thank you.
I agree with you because, I think it's just human nature to look forward, right? Instead of being in the present, or looking in the past instead of being in the present. Um, and I think that's what space is, right? That's our future. Let's be honest, that's our future. Um, but we've not gotten to the point yet where I think we're ready for that. You're absolutely right. We need to know more about our planet and more about how science works within our planet first, I think, before we can truly understand what's out there. I think if we look where we are now, it will help us in the future gain more knowledge quicker, right? Um, when we are ready to extend upon this planet.
We would know. We would have an idea of what is these planets are habited with,
Possibly,
instead of
yeah.
just animals and other humans. Other mammals, and what else could there be?
I think if we look more into the present, right, where we currently are, our own planet, it'll help us also understand how we can, you know, habit another world properly, right? Because more than likely, if we do find something else out there that is habitable, it's not going to be like Earth. There's going to be differences, and those differences may be too great to overcome if we don't have that knowledge beforehand. And I think in terms, what's really important is aspect of that is biology, and what better way of learning biology than to learn about it right here on Earth? And I think we still have so much to learn still that will aid us. Yeah.
Well, they're saying that the ice caps melting, and um, all these things that we've never been exposed to is coming to life, and we're going to be exposed to it. So, like, I'm just kind of curious as to what is exactly underneath all of that, and what we're going to be exposed to in the future.
I just have a question that I wanted to ask you two,
Oh, absolutely.
and then then you can kick me out of the box. I really
We
believe
can hear your
that.
tapping, by the way.
Oh, sorry, I'm tapping the alien next to your head. I believe that we have alien life forces walking amongst us. And I mean, this is kind of going into the hellier thing a little bit, but I believe that I have a feeling that they're already here in different life forms crossing through interdimensional barriers. What do you think about that?
Well,
I think we live. I think we live in a dimension that we live in the past, the present, and the future. I believe that everything that we do, we are living in all three dimensions. So
It overlaps.
I I I I believe that.
I um were you gonna say something, Mom?
Yeah, I was going to totally agree with Tim. That from my experience, it's past, present, future. It's all interdimensional, and we're fluxing in and out of different states consistently. So I agree with him completely.
We have Brian on our team, and he believes that all the spirits that we're exposed to. So we're inside of a house or a manor. We're inside of a manor, and we're attempting to talk to what we consider to be spirits. But what if we're actually living in the present, but we're talking to people who are still currently living in the past, or what we consider the past, but a different dimension, and we actually cross paths to a certain extent, and we just don't understand what's happening yet.
Okay,
That's a
so
fun
not to
story.
take it to, the psychic medium bullshit, right? 100% agree with you on that, Tim. Whenever I am communicating, it's not like I'm going one place or the other. It's all from the same area. Like, that's why when people say, oh, we need to help them cross over or we need to help this and that, it doesn't feel that way when you're actually doing the communicating. It's like you're just slipping in and out of different times almost. It's kind of like remote viewing and going back in time and forward and just slipping in and out. And it's the same. It's like they're looking at us from inside the fishbowl. We're looking at them from inside the fishbowl. It's all the same.
Right, and then they experience us in our dimension in a certain way, and then all of a sudden they're like, "Oh, I just crossed a spirit," but we're not spirits; we're actual people. We like our dimensions just kind of touch, overlap a little bit, and then they go away, and then they touch and overlap and go away. I think that's kind of what's happening.
Yep. I've also often felt like, aliens, for lack of a better word, that's our human term for them, are like the future, the advanced forms.
Of ourselves in the future.
Do you think that like the energy from the dimensions kind of like pulsate, which in turn like overlap each other constantly?
I personally do because I feel like people that express gifts like me are not one dimensional beings. Otherwise, we wouldn't be able to do that. So I feel like we're constantly interlapping and we all have the potential to do that. But dogma and restrictions from different beliefs and so forth prevent people from being able to do that.
Yeah.
So, there was a study that was done not long ago that tried to determine how many dimensions humans live in or can perceive. And if I'm not mistaken, I could be wrong on the number, but I think they came up with we possibly can, which would kind of explain psychic abilities or other things of that nature. We are able to perceive in 5 dimensions. So we live in 3 physical body. We can perceive a 4th, and then we can perceive a 5th dimension on top of that, which could explain why we see phenomenon that we do. Let me actually fact check that real quick since I have Google.
Well, that could also be why some people do and some people don't as well.
Okay, so there are four,
Right, and
actually four
that's why some people
dimensions.
feel like they're live. Sorry.
No, I was just gonna say. So there are, um, so we inhabit a space of 3 dimension. We can perceive a 4th dimension 100%. That dimension, they're calling this a dimension, is time. Funny, we were just talking about how past, present, and future are happening simultaneously. Time is considered a dimension. And I think in the study that I'm talking about, which I'm not going to try to find, It's possible that we could perceive in a fifth, which is where our abilities of what we would call psychic or mediumship abilities would come from. A fifth dimension, the ability to perceive in a fifth dimension.
And that's why I kind of prefer to call it perception versus psychic abilities, because we're just able to hone and perceive everything more